Discovered, a heartwarming kiss with a stranger transformed their life in just 30 days. Emily stood among the swirling lights and vibrant sounds of the Maplewood Community Fair, her heart racing. This was the moment she had been waiting for, a magical evening that could lift the weight of her struggles, if only for a little while. As she watched kids with cotton candy and laughter echoing through the air, she felt an unfamiliar flutter of hope amidst the chaos of life. She had spent the last decade juggling work. 2 jobs were a constant grind, but for Jake, her teenage son, every ounce of her sacrifice felt worth it. Yet, there was a hollowness she couldn't ignore. When Mike appeared, a charming stranger whose warm brown eyes sparked something within her. She felt an instant connection, a bubble of joy bursting to life in her chest. They shared a laugh over the ridiculousness of a carnival game as she slid back into her memories of carefree days long gone. Then, under the twinkling lights of the Ferris wheel, it happened. Their lips brushed, a sweet and simple kiss that transformed the moment and maybe, even their lives. Suddenly, things felt different. Mike wasn't just a fleeting encounter, he stirred feelings Emily had buried beneath her busy days. Over the next month, their relationship grew amidst a delicate dance of new love and old worries. Mike, a gentle veteran, helped Emily rediscover her laughter. The way he held her hand, the conversations that felt like the best kind of therapy, it was exhilarating. Yet with every heartbeat, shadows reappeared, reminders that Jake's world was shrinking, eclipsed by this new man. "Mom, you're always with him now," Jake yelled, anger spilling over one evening as he slammed his bedroom door. Each argument was a dagger to her heart, but she knew her priority was both of them. Balancing her love life and motherhood was a tightrope walk. No matter how much she wished to give Jake everything, Mike's presence made her question if she was doing the right thing. Then disaster struck. The diner cut back her hours. Panic clawed at her throat. Not again, she thought. Bills felt like tidal waves approaching. Just when she thought she had started to breathe again, she found herself gasping for air. She couldn't let Jake see it, but uncertainty loomed, dark and heavy. That evening, as she prepared dinner, her world felt askew. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue." That night, dinner was quiet, filled with unspoken words. Jake's eyes silently pleaded for his mother, and she could feel the growing distance. Then, just when she thought they could address their emotions, her phone chimed with a message from Mike. As Emily took a breath to break the silence, she was hit with a sudden realization. Jake was hiding something, a secret that threatened to unravel everything. "Mom!" Jake exclaimed, his voice trembling as emotions bubbled beneath the surface. "Do you even see me anymore?" Her heart raced, caught between the love of a mother and the spark of a new beginning. The questions hung heavy. Could they withstand the storm of sacrifice and love? What would it take for her to piece together their fractured family? As Jake stared wide-eyed, the air thick with tension, Emily knew things were about to change forever. Would they find a path together, or would this love be the very thing that drove them apart? Emily's heart pounded in her chest as she studied Jake's face, a mixture of hurt and anger that made her breath catch in her throat. How had they come to this? The little boy who used to laugh over cartoons and pop popcorn with her now seemed like a stranger. "Jake," she began, searching for the right words, but nothing felt adequate. He cut her off, stepping back as if her words were too heavy to hold. "You're too busy with Mike to even care about me." His voice trembled like a leaf in a storm. "You don't even notice when I'm upset." The sheer pain in his eyes was like a knife twisting in her heart. She had tried her best to balance everything, but now, everything felt like it was crumbling beneath her feet. She took a deep breath, steadying herself. "I'm trying to make us happy, Jake. You mean the world to me. I thought maybe what?" That this is okay? He scoffed, tears shining in his eyes. You forgot about me. His words sliced through the air, leaving a bitter residue of truth. She bit her lip, fighting back her own tears. How could she have let it get this far? Listen, I know it's hard to have someone new in our lives. But I care about you, and I always will. I promise I'll do better. I just what? You want to have fun with him while I deal with everything? The hurt in his voice was sharp and piercing. Jake, please, but before she could finish, he turned away, storming off to the safety of his room. The door slammed shut behind him, a finality that rattled her insides. A wave of guilt washed over her. She needed to talk to him. Hand trembling, she reached for her phone, wanting to text Mike, to tell him they needed to hit pause on their plans. But the moment she looked down at the screen, doubts flooded her mind. Would Mike understand? Could he even empathize with a bond so deep yet so complicated? The thought hung heavy in the air, a delicate line between two worlds. The quiet that fell over the house felt oppressive. She stood in the kitchen, the aroma of untouched dinner lingering like a ghost. Snack food and creaming soda might have been her quick fix before, but this wasn't just about hunger anymore. It was about their future. A wild impulse surged within her. Instead of retreating to her phone, she decided to break the silence. Apprehensively, she approached Jake's door. Hey, can we talk? Go away. His voice echoed, though it lacked the vitriol it had moments before. Please, I promise I won't bring him up. I just want to understand what you're feeling. The door creaked open a fraction, just enough for her to catch a glimpse of his tear-streaked face. Why don't you just go? You don't need me to do that, he muttered quietly, the softness of his words shaking her resolve. Jake, I need you. I need you more than you know. I can't imagine my life without you, without us. Her voice was steady now, anchored by desperation. A long silence drifted between them, heavy like a blanket. Then, finally, he opened the door a little wider, revealing the boy who had grown into a young man filled with doubt. That's easy to say, but he started, his voice faltering. What if we made a deal? She interrupted suddenly, an idea striking her. Let us spend a day together, just you and me. We'll skip work, skip Mike, just catch up like we used to. Jake's eyes widened slightly at the suggestion. You promise? I promise, she nodded earnestly, hope flickering like a candle. As they began to negotiate their commitments, a tiny spark ignited in Emily's heart. Maybe, just maybe, they could rekindle that unbreakable bond that had been flickering in the shadows. But as she felt the warmth of their connection start to swell, another message pinged on her phone. It was from Mike, asking if she could meet him tomorrow. Her heart sank as she stared at the words on the screen. Could this new love be another weight pulling them apart? Emily reached for Jake's hand, seeking reassurance he would still be there for her while she navigated these choppy waters. The solution felt ever closer, yet the looming question remained: how could she keep her family whole as new changes surrounded them? The stakes were higher now than ever. Emily woke early the next morning, her heart racing as the memories of last night replayed in her mind. The tension in Jake's voice echoed in her ears, but so did his flicker of hope. The promise of spending the day together loomed over her like a bright sunlight on a cloudy day. She couldn't ignore the reality that was also sitting on her shoulders: Mike needed her too. A tough choice lay ahead. She tiptoed down the hallway, careful not to disturb Jake. He needed his space. The thought of his tear-streaked face from the night before tugged at her heart, but today was their day. She poured herself a cup of coffee, gazing out at the morning light spilling across the yard. The world felt vibrant, almost electric, as if it knew she stood on the precipice of something important. By the time Jake shuffled into the kitchen, the air was thick with anticipation. He rubbed his eyes, a palpable weariness still clinging to him. Yet, when he spotted her, a ghost of a smile flickered across his face. Good morning, Emily said gently, pouring him a cup of orange juice as she searched for the right words. Ready for our day? Yeah, he replied, glancing around as if to gather himself. There was hope in his eyes, but beneath that, shadows of uncertainty lingered. "What do you want to do?" "I thought we could start with breakfast at that little diner down the street," she suggested. "How about their pancakes? You always loved those." He hesitated for a moment, then visibly shifted, the slightest spark igniting in his expression. "Okay, pancakes it is," he nodded, his voice more confident now. After a quick shower and some casual clothes, they piled into the car, the atmosphere beginning to lighten. Emily cranked up the radio, and soon their favorite tunes filled the air. Jake hummed along, tapping his fingers against his knee, and she felt her heart lift with every passing mile. At the diner, they slipped into a booth, and the warm smell of syrup enveloped them like a hug. As they eagerly dug into their plates, laughter bubbled up between them, filling the cracks that had formed over the past few months. "What do you miss most?" Emily asked, sticking her fork into her fluffy stack. "Just hanging out, you know." "Just us," he said, his gaze thoughtful. "Before, it was just you and me against the world." "That's true." "I miss that too," she confessed, feeling a familiar warmth spread in her chest. "But I also want you to be happy, even if it means new people come into our lives." Jake frowned slightly, and she noticed how his smile faltered. "But it feels different now. Like I'm second place." "No one could ever take your place in my heart, Jake," she emphasized, her voice unwavering. "Promise." He looked at her, his expression softening just a bit, as if he were weighing her words against his doubts. They finished breakfast and decided to wander through the nearby park, the trees bursting with fresh leaves, a symbol of new beginnings. As they strolled, Emily's phone buzzed in her pocket, a nagging reminder of Mike's presence. She glanced down at the message reminders for their meeting later. Her heart sank again. "Is everything okay?" Jake asked, noticing the change in her. "Yeah, just a reminder," she replied, a hint of hesitation creeping into her voice. "About Mike?" he pressed, his tone firm yet gentle. "Yes," she admitted, biting her lip. "But this day is for us, and I'm not letting anything ruin it." Walking in comfortable silence, they approached a playground where children laughed and played. Jake seemed relaxed, a soft smile finally lighting his face. The bond they had began to shimmer, but Emily felt the weight of the evening ahead. How could she juggle both worlds? Just as they rounded a corner to a quieter section of the park, Jake suddenly stopped, staring at something just beyond the trees. She followed his gaze and saw a group of friends gathered around a picnic, music blaring. It looked fun, alive, free. "Wanna join them?" she asked, a hint of enthusiasm bubbling in her voice. He glanced at her, they could easily blend into the moment, laughter filling the afternoon air. Jake smiled at her suggestion, yet an uncertainty flickered back in his eyes. "Can we just stay in our own bubble a bit longer?" He turned, locking eyes with her. "Of course," Emily said softly, heart in her throat. But as they continued their walk, another message dinged on her phone, this one a photo from Mike. She glanced at it, and her stomach twisted. He looked so happy so together. "Are you okay?" "You seem distant," Jake said, watching her carefully. She trailed off, her thoughts jumbling in her mind. "I have to figure this out, Jake." In that moment, she felt the weight of her choices pressing down harder than before. The fleeting joy they found today seemed threatened by the reality waiting just around the corner. "Maybe I should talk to Mike after all," she muttered, and Jake's expression darkened instantly. "Are you choosing him?" Jake's voice shook as if the very air thickened with tension. Emily's heart raced, realizing that the decision of the day was far from simple. Could she really navigate both relationships, or would one have to give? The stakes felt higher than ever. She looked at Jake, feeling the ground beneath her shift. Would this day create a bridge or a chasm? "Let us figure it out together," he said, grasping her hand tightly, uncertainty mingling with hope. And in her heart, a question lingered: when would it be too late to choose? The air around them felt electric, but the tightness in Emily's chest was unmistakable. She could sense the tides of change swirling as she held Jake's hand, both a lifeline and a reminder of the complexity of their reality. What would happen when they returned to the weight of their lives, her obligations to Mike, the confusion simmering between her and Jake? They wandered deeper into the park, the branches arching overhead while sunlight dapples the ground. A soft, warm breeze lifted Emily's hair, carrying with it the sounds of distant laughter and music. It should have felt liberating, but each sound was a reminder of the life she needed to face outside this moment, outside their bubble, and she feared that the truth she'd been avoiding would come crashing down. Jake's voice broke the quiet. You know, I've thought a lot about what we had. I miss it. I miss you. His words cut through her heart like a knife. She turned to face him, searching his eyes for something assurance, perhaps. I miss us too, Jake. But I can't ignore Mike. He's been there for me. Is that really all there is to it? He pressed, his brow furrowing. Do you really feel something for him? Or is it guilt? The question struck her hard. It was one thing to feel responsible, but another to dig into her feelings. Did she love Mike? The thought lingered, heavy and uncomfortable. She opened her mouth but found no words, the truth seemed to hide just beneath her conscience. Sometimes, things just get complicated, she murmured, finally breaking the silence. I thought I could make it work, but it's not easy to choose. Jake's expression softened. I want you to be happy, whatever that looks like. I just don't want to lose you. As the words lingered, Emily's heart ached. How could she indulge in old memories while standing on the edge of a new chapter? She brushed away the thought, wanting nothing more than to bask in the moment they had created today. Let us not think about it for now, she breathed, squeezing his hand. This is still our day. Jake's eyes sparkled with reluctant hope, but behind that glimmer she sensed a storm brewing. They moved with quiet intimacy, sharing smiles and stolen glances. For the first time in what felt like ages, Emily felt light, as though the burden of expectations had lifted. They found a serene spot near a pond. The water reflected patches of blue sky, and ducks glided smoothly across. Jake plopped down on the grass, pulling her down beside him. She fell into the warmth of his laughter, letting the sunlight wrap around them like a blanket. You know, he said, grinning mischievously, if we just sat here long enough, I think we could turn into ducks. Emily giggled, enjoying the carefree banter. Let us not quack about it, she teased. In that moment, everything outside felt frozen. Her worries faded into the background as she leaned into him, their laughter merging with the gentle rustle of leaves above. But like all good things, the comfort began to wane, the familiar weight of reality anchored her again. As they sat quietly, a text pinged again, another reminder of the world waiting just beyond their bubble. She hesitated, staring at her phone. I really should. Jake caught the drift of her words. Talk to Mike. The words hung in the air painfully between them. She could see the disappointment shadow his face, and it twisted her heart. I don't want you to think maybe you just need to sort things out, he interrupted, trying to maintain his composure. I can wait, Emily, can you? She blurted before she could stop herself. The fear bubbled over. That's the question. Can you really wait while I figure this out? Sensing her distress, Jake took a deep breath, his gaze steady. If anyone can help you see what you really want, I believe it's me. But in the silence that followed, another piercing truth jolted Emily. What if the choice fell on her shoulders not just today, but in every moment ahead? Then I have to know, she whispered, barely above a breath. What do I really want? As emotions churned in her heart, she felt the ground shake beneath them. That unspoken question hung in the air, curdling any remnants of bliss they had built. Could she really face the truth about herself and the love tugging at her heart? The weight of choices loomed larger than ever, leaving Emily wondering if by the day's end, she would have clarity or be engulfed in deeper chaos. Jake searched her eyes, a mixture of concern and hope written all over his face. Whatever comes next, I'll be here. She took a deep breath, ready to confront the looming storm. Would she be able to answer the question that could change everything? Or would it all slip away before she was ready to choose? The buzzing from her phone broke Emily's concentration. Her heart raced as she glanced down at the screen, where Mike's name blared brightly, demanding her attention. Anxiety twisted in her stomach. She started, glancing at Jake, who was studying her intently. His eyes told her he wanted to be with her right here, right now. But the reality of her life loomed over them like thunderclouds, ready to burst. Maybe I should just respond, she said, her voice softer than she intended. I shouldn't leave him hanging. Jake frowned, the expression tightening across his face. But what if you don't want to? I'd hate to be the reason you don't communicate with him. Emily's heart raced. The conflict within her twisted painfully. How could she hurt Mike, the man who had been her steady rock? Yet, being in Jake's presence filled her with a warmth she hadn't felt in so long it felt wrong to leave that behind. I don't want to hurt anyone. She squeezed her phone tighter, wishing the answer would magically appear on its screen. Emily, you're not going to hurt him just by being honest. Jake's voice was calm, but she detected an undercurrent of urgency. He leaned closer, and she could smell the mix of summer and cedar on him, fresh and grounding. You owe it to yourself to find out what you want, even if it's messy. Messy. The word danced around in her mind, resonating with her chaotic thoughts. Could she really uncover what lay at the core of her heart amid all the confusion? She took a deep breath and replied to Mike, typing cautiously. Hey. Just checking in. Can we talk? The 3 words felt like weights being dropped into the sea, pulling her deeper into uncertainty. Done. She exhaled, a mixture of relief and dread washing over her. Good. Jake smiled, though the joy didn't quite reach his eyes. He reached out and tucked a strand of hair behind her ear, an innocent gesture that sent sparks racing through her skin. You did what you needed to do. But was it enough? She felt lost, precariously perched on the edge of 2 worlds, one a familiar yet uneasy shore and the other an alluring promise of something she had almost forgotten. As they sat in the warm afternoon, the sun dipping lower in the sky, Emily's phone buzzed again. A sense of foreboding washed over her as she found Mike's reply, a simple text, full of care and intimacy. Sure. How's our weekend looking? The wave of warmth in his words further twisted her insides. She dropped her gaze, avoiding Jake's penetrating stare, which she felt burning into her. Is that it? Jake asked, breaking into her chaotic thoughts. It seems casual. Yeah, maybe too casual. She hesitated, her heart racing. He thinks everything is okay. That I'm okay. Are you okay? Jake's question hung in the tense air. I don't know. The admission was a whisper, tinged with vulnerability. She met his eyes, and something profound passed between them. Tell him how you feel, he urged gently. I can't. What if? But as the words tumbled from her mouth, a stillness settled around them. She realized that every hesitation was filled with opportunity, an opportunity to define who she was beyond labels. The sun dipped toward the horizon, flooding the park with warm hues that felt alive with possibility. Maybe I do need to figure this out, Emily breathed, feeling more resolute. The decision loomed like a storm, but she was also curious about what lay ahead. As they sat together, the weight of the decision hung heavily. The blend of fear and hope coiled within her chest. She could almost see the threads of fate weaving around them, entangling everything tighter with each passing second. Jake, if I do this, she started, her voice quaking slightly. If I face Mike, the truth, it might change everything. Jake's expression softened. That's the point, right? You deserve clarity. The world felt tantalizingly close, yet each choice echoed with potential. Before she could respond, her phone buzzed again. This time, Emily hesitated, her heart racing as she stared at the screen. The sender's name lit up, and she nearly dropped it in. Surprise. Mike wants to meet right now, she whispered, the tremor in her voice betraying her simmering hopes and fears. Are you going to? Jake's voice was steady, but she could hear the underlying concern. Emily took a moment, feeling the weight of their shared gaze. Would she dive into what she didn't fully understand? As clarity wove in and out of focus, she knew the moment had come. The question lingered thick in the air. Would she step away from the safety of familiarity and plunge into the abyss of truth, or stay with the comfortable chaos of indecision? Jake's hands wrapped around hers seemed to anchor her, and for the first time, she felt the journey ahead pulse with both trepidation and promise, ready to unearth what the future held. Emily's heart pounded violently in her chest as she read Mike's text again. The world around her shrunk into the now, into the moment she was living, filled with heavy silence and anticipation. Each tick of the clock felt like it echoed in her ears, a reminder of the time slipping away, as if the universe was daring her to choose. I need a second, she finally managed, pulling her hands away from Jake's. The warmth of his touch lingered, but the urgency of Mike's request surged through her instead. Take all the time you need, Jake replied, his tone both supportive and layered with a hint of anxiety. He watched her as if he could see the storm brewing inside her. Her fingers trembled as she set the phone down. Could she really meet Mike like this, right now? Her gut twisted with uncertainty, and while part of her screamed to run towards him, another part longed to linger where she was, basking in Jake's presence. He was a breath of fresh air in her complicated life, a beacon of possibility. Hey, Jake's voice broke through her frantic thoughts. You don't have to do this today. You know that, right? But deep down, Emily sensed that she could no longer postpone what had been building for far too long. The truth was calling, and it wouldn't wait. No. I need to. Determination flared within her. I have to face it. She was so tired of living in the shadows of what-ifs and maybes. Jake nodded slowly, and she could see he understood. All right then, he said softly, just remember you deserve to be happy. With a weary smile, she glanced at her phone. There was no going back now. She took a breath, letting the practiced ease she had always maintained slip away just long enough to gain clarity. Okay. I'm going. Jake offered a reassuring grin, though she could see the worry lingering in his eyes. I'll be here. It felt strangely grounding, knowing Jake would wait for her. She pushed down the butterflies and made her way to the parking lot, where her car sat glinting in the fading sunlight. The engine hummed to life, but her mind was racing 1,000 thoughts a minute. What would she say? How would Mike react? As she drove, fragments of her life swirled in disarray: happy moments, regrets, laughter shared with Mike, but also the growing distance that had crept in. They had been fine, but were they really? Was it fair to both of them to continue living in a facade? She parked outside the cafe where they had shared so many memories. The familiarity of the place was soothing yet unsettling. It brought forth whispers of their laughter, their inside jokes, the sweetness of first love, all weaving together in vivid detail. Stepping inside, she spotted Mike sitting in their usual corner. He looked up, his expression shifting from confusion to a smile that melted her heart, but it was quickly drowned in the ocean of emotions crashing over her. He looked just as handsome as ever, and for a moment, it almost felt right, like old times. But she forced herself to remember why she was here. She wasn't just there to relive the past. She was there to confront it, to face the truth that had been looming over them like a distant storm, ready to unleash its fury. Hey, you made it, Mike said, surprising her with that warm, gentle smile. She could see the joy in his eyes, but beneath that surface lay a questioning glance, searching hers for an answer she hadn't yet found. Yeah, I needed to talk, she replied, swallowing hard. The words felt heavy on her tongue, clinging to her throat like a stubborn fog. A heartbeat passed as they studied each other. His smile faltered, curiosity folding into concern. Is everything all right? Nothing was all right, but she needed to speak her truth. Two lives intertwined could only dance for so long before it became painfully clear that one step could change everything. Mike, Emily began, her voice barely above a whisper. But before she could elaborate, an overwhelming wave of uncertainty flooded over her. The warmth of the sun outside had faded, replaced by the chill of revelation looming ahead. What started as a Conversation about their future was rapidly shaping itself into a pivotal moment of truth. Would she be brave enough to say it? Just like that, the stakes had never felt higher. Would she reveal everything, as she had promised herself? Or would she crumble under the weight of the past? With Mike's questioning gaze pinned on her, the answer hung in the air. Would she embrace the uncertainty, or would she shy away, leaving everything unchanged? Only time would tell. Emily took a deep breath, the air heavy with unspoken words and the weight of memories. She knew this was the moment fairy tales didn't come with easy answers, and life wasn't a movie where everything resolved itself in a neat little package. It was messy. It was complicated. And as she looked into Mike's eyes, she felt the tidal pull of their shared history, teetering on the edge of something profound. Mike, I've been thinking a lot lately, she started, her voice stronger this time, but still shaky. About us. About what we really are. He leaned in slightly, his brow furrowing with concentration. What do you mean? He paused, searching for the right words. We're fine, right? Fine, she echoed, the word tasting bitter on her tongue. But are we really? Or are we just pretending? It feels like we're hiding from something. His expression shifted, vulnerability flickering across his features. I thought we were just going through a rough patch. The thing is, she said, each word a step forward into the unknown, I don't want to keep pretending. We have to talk about the things we've been avoiding. There's too much left unsaid. Mike ran a hand through his hair, a gesture of anxiety that tugged at her heart. Okay, but he inhaled deeply. What are you worried about exactly? She hesitated, the intensity of the moment clenching around her. You and me, it just feels different now. I've found happiness in pieces with Jake, but that doesn't erase what we had. I don't want to lead you on, Mike. I care about you too much to keep going this way. Silence fell between them, thick and sharp. She searched his eyes for a reaction, but the thoughts seemed trapped behind a wall of confusion. Are you saying you want to end things? He asked quietly, pain barely contained in his voice. No. Not end things outright, she rushed to explain, feeling the urgency of the moment. I want a change. I need to know if we can be honest about what we really feel instead of just being fine. Mike swallowed, and she could see the gears turning in his mind. She could almost hear the clock ticking, reminding her that time was moving, whether they were or not. He leaned back, running his fingers against the table, fidgeting. Okay, let us be honest. I've felt the distance too. But do you really think it's possible for us to go back to how it was? The question hit her hard. She didn't know the answer, but she felt the answer would shape the rest of their lives. I don't want to go back, Mike, she finally said, her heart thumping against her ribs. I want to move forward. But I can't do that without knowing the truth. What do you feel? He held her gaze, searching her soul for something that would either free them or trap them further. I still love you, Emily. But if we're doing this, we have to be honest, with each other and ourselves. And I'm scared. Me too, she admitted, her voice breaking slightly. But maybe it's time to embrace that fear instead of letting it control us. I need to know if you're willing to try. She watched as he wrestled with his thoughts, emotions flashing across his face like lightning. For a moment, hope flickered, something barely tangible but so precious. Just then, the doors swung open, allowing a gust of cold air to pull at their focus. A new customer entered, bumping into the table and sending a cup clattering to the floor. Emily jumped, her heart racing, breaking the moment's intense focus. As they both turned to look at the commotion, she felt the air shift. Mike's expression closed off, and the moment felt lost. She exhaled slowly, realizing that even in this uncertainty, there were still layers to peel back. It wasn't over. Not yet. What if, she murmured, her heart racing with the thought that just popped into her head. What if we tried seeing what happens if we took a break? No constraints, just space to figure out what we want. Mike's eyes widened, curiosity overtaking the worry just for a moment. You really think that would help? Maybe it could guide us. We can meet again and see where we land. His expression softened, as if a small door had opened. Okay, he said slowly, let us give it a shot. As they slowly processed this decision, Emily realized the room felt lighter. They weren't moving backward, they were stepping into the unknown together, with hope amidst uncertainty. But her heart still fluttered with thoughts of Jake. Could she really explore this new beginning with Mike while still keeping things with Jake? The boundaries were blurring, and she wasn't sure how to draw the lines. Would clarity come when she needed it most, or would it slip further away as she began this new chapter? Outside, the sun dipped lower in the sky, casting long shadows. The air was charged with unspoken possibilities, and Emily knew their paths had just shifted. But would the choices they made lead to heartache or a new beginning? Only time would tell. Emily stepped outside the cafe, the brisk evening air filling her lungs and stirring doubts in her mind. She looked up at the amber sky, streaked with indigo, and felt a mix of anticipation and fear. The break she had suggested to Mike felt like a leap into the void. Could this really lead to clarity, or would it just deepen the confusion swirling inside her? As she walked down the busy street, her thoughts drummed relentlessly against her temples. Jake was still a factor, an undeniable presence in her life that continued to complicate everything. She thought back to the laughter they shared, the ease with which he filled the silences. But there was history with Mike, a depth of feeling that was hard to ignore. It was a tangled web, and she felt trapped in the threads. Suddenly, a flash of movement caught her eye. Across the street, a street performer was juggling flaming torches, drawing a small crowd. Intrigued, Emily moved closer, letting the warmth of the flames wash over her. The atmosphere here felt electric, a stark contrast to the weight that had been pressing on her chest just moments earlier. As she watched the performer, she found herself smiling, forgetting for a brief reprieve about her tangled heart. The cheers of the crowd melted into a comforting rhythm, and for that moment, she was just another face in the crowd, swept up in the wonder of it all. Hey, do you want to try? A voice suddenly broke through her thoughts, pulling her back to reality. She turned to see a girl about her age with a wide grin and an inviting spark in her eyes. What? Emily blinked, momentarily dazed. The flaming torches. Want to try juggling? The girl's enthusiasm was contagious. It's easier than it looks. Emily chuckled at the absurdity. In that moment, juggling flaming torches felt like it could be just as awkward as handling her emotions. No thanks, she said, waving off the idea. But there was something in the girl's eagerness that stirred a desire in her to break free from the seriousness weighing her down. Come on, it'll be fun. The girl insisted, her confidence beaming. What's your name? Emily, she replied, a little caught off guard. Emily, come on. Let us live a little. What have you got to lose? The girl's laughter rang out, light and airy. Emily considered it. What did she have to lose? It was just juggling. And yet, it felt so much more. Maybe it was a metaphor for her life, juggling her feelings for Mike and Jake, balancing love and friendship, the expectations she had for herself. All right, fine. She relented, throwing caution to the wind. After fumbling through a few attempts with the torches, most of which ignited laughter rather than applause, she finally managed to keep one in the air for a count of 3. A sense of accomplishment surged through her, thrilling and yet freeing. Her heart thudded with exhilaration. Maybe that was all she needed. A reminder that life could still surprise her, that it didn't always have to be weighed down in angst. As she stepped back from the performance, her phone buzzed in her pocket, breaking the spell. It was a text from Jake. A simple hey. Hope you're doing well. Can we talk? The timing felt uncanny, as if fate or fortune was playing a hand in this unfolding chaos. Heart racing, Emily stared at the screen. She could feel the weight of the moment, a chance for a resolution. It could push her one step closer to the clarity she sought. But she also felt that familiar pull toward uncertainty, the uncertainty of where the conversation with Jake might lead. Would she find herself caught in another tangled web of feelings? Or would this be an opportunity to break free, to state her truths and set herself on a new path? Taking a deep breath, she looked back at the street performer, who was now balancing on a unicycle, still expertly juggling. The atmosphere thrummed with energy and possibility. Could she face the truth with the same courage she had just shared in juggling? With newfound resolve, she decided to take a chance. As she texted back, "Sure, let us talk," an unsettling mix of hope and fear gripped her heart. She wondered if this was the right move or just another chain in the web she didn't know how to cut. Was she ready to embrace whatever came next? In the distance, the sun dipped lower, deepening the shades of twilight. Tomorrow would bring new conversations, and with them, could come the answers she had longed for. But would those answers lead her closer to the love she sought, or would they pull her further away from the dreams she had in her heart? The next day dawned with golden shafts of sunlight cascading through Emily's window, yet heavier clouds loomed inside her heart. She lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, replaying the text and the myriad of emotions it provoked. A part of her wondered what Jake really wanted. Was it an apology or perhaps a plea to rekindle something that had already been lost? Getting out of bed, she felt an urgency to prepare for their meeting. She picked out her favorite blouse, the soft blue one that matched the color of her eyes. Her hands trembled slightly as she straightened her hair and applied just a touch of makeup. With every brushstroke, she attempted to mask the anxiety swirling within her. When she finally stepped outside, the world felt different, more vibrant, more alive. The fresh air filled her lungs, invigorating her as the smell of blossoms hinted at spring. But just under the surface, her excitement was tinged with uncertainty, like a shadow lurking in the corner of her mind. Walking towards the cafe where they had agreed to meet, Emily felt the ground beneath her shift with each step. What would she say? How would she express the confusion brewing in her heart? Once she arrived, she found a quiet table by the window, the sun filtering through the glass. Minutes felt like hours as she waited, the clock on the wall ticking louder with each passing second. Each time the door swung open, her heart raced, longing for a familiar face. When Jake finally walked in, his presence struck her like a sudden gust of wind. He looked just like she remembered, casual but handsome, with that somewhat lopsided smile that once made her weak in the knees. But now, it felt different. As he approached, she forced a smile, and he mirrored it, though his eyes glimmered with uncertainty. "Hey," he said quietly, sliding into the seat across from her. "Hey," Emily replied, her voice steadier than she felt. Silence hung in the air, heavy and awkward, until finally, Jake broke it. "I've missed you, Em." His words felt like a soft punch to her gut. The truth behind them cut deep, reminding her of everything they had once shared. "I've missed you too," she responded, her heart fluttering. But it felt different now, tinged with doubt and the lingering shadow of Mike. Jake looked at her, searching for something she had once so easily given him. "I'm not here to make excuses," he started, "but I've had some time to think." Emily held her breath, clinging to hope and dread simultaneously. What would he say? This was at the moment that could change everything. "I wish I had spoken up sooner," Jake continued, "but I didn't know how to deal with everything that was happening between us. And, well, I guess I let you go without a fight." He paused, his eyes falling to the table as if searching for the right words in the wood grain. "But being without you, it's not been easy." Her heart raced at his admission, igniting something inside her. Here was the raw truth, a deep feeling she had hoped for but also feared. Was she ready to battle the emotions awakening within her? "Jake." She hesitated. "You know there's more between us than just this, right?" He looked up, his gaze steadying on her. "I know, and that makes this harder. I can't ignore what we had. But, I also want to respect the fact that you might be moving on." The weight of his words pressed against her like the vestiges of winter, making everything feel cold and heavy. Could she really move on, knowing the connection they once had lingered? Just as she was about to gather her thoughts, her phone buzzed again. This time, it was a text from Mike. "Hey, can we talk soon?" The questions surged in Emily's mind, swirling into a storm. Here, facing Jake, a door she hadn't fully closed was swinging open again. Would she rediscover the past, or pave a new path with someone else? Do you still care about us? Jake's question pulled her back. She opened her mouth to respond, but her heart raced with conflicting answers, each brimming with hope, doubt, and longing. The answer to that question could alter everything she ever knew about love. And yet, deep down, she questioned, could she still navigate this tangled web and find her way to the heart she sought? With the air thick with tension, Emily took a deep breath, feeling the weight of their past dancing on the cusp of their future. All she had to do was speak her truth, but could she find the words? Emily took a moment, the gravity of Jake's question settling like dust in the air around them. She hated how her heart felt so full, yet so conflicted. Do I care about us? It was a question layered with memories of laughter, warmth, and genuine connection, but it also held the weight of uncertainty about her relationship with Mike hovering just out of reach. Jake, I still care about you, she finally admitted, her voice softer than she expected. But I'm also figuring things out for myself. Everything feels so tangled. You and Mike, it's like I'm trying to hold on to two different worlds. His expression softened, and for a moment, she saw the boy she had known in his youthful longing and pain. I can understand that, he replied gently. But I don't want to just become a part of your past. I don't want to lose you again. Tears prickled at the corners of her eyes, the weight of their shared history tugging at her heartstrings. She had always thought they belonged together, and here was Jake, his honest face pleading with her not to push him away. I'm so grateful for how much you care, she whispered, her heart swelling and aching all at once. But I can't deny that I feel something for Mike too. It complicates everything, and I don't want to hurt either of you. Then maybe you should take the time you need, Jake suggested quietly. Sort through your feelings for both of us. It's okay to be unsure, Em. Just be honest with yourself. His words hung in the air, a ripple of relief washing over her. Maybe you're right, she acknowledged, wiping away a tear. I think I need to figure out who I am beyond all of this before making any decisions. A sigh of understanding flowed between them, but in that same moment, her heart ached as she felt the deep bond they shared fracture under the weight of reality. But what does that mean for us? He asked cautiously, his eyes searching hers. Emily took a deep breath. I think it means we both wait. We breathe. We focus on the things that make us happy, and if it leads us back to each other, that's great. But if not, her voice trailed off, and a heavy silence wrapped around them. I'll be here, Jake said, a flicker of tenacity sharpening his words. No matter what, just know that I won't give up on us without a fight. The emotion flooded her, fear, hope, confusion, all battling for dominance. I'm so scared of losing you, she admitted, her heart racing. You won't lose me. Just promise to be honest about how you feel. No matter what that means. He smiled, but it didn't erase the shadow of uncertainty clinging to the moment. Another ping from her phone startled them both. Her heart raced. This time, it was Mike, asking if they could meet later that evening. Caught between two worlds once more, she could feel her heart pounding harder, as if urging her to confront this moment head-on. I have to go, she said reluctantly, standing up with determination sparking in her eyes. I need to meet Mike. He deserves to know. The same way you do. Go, Jake nodded, an understanding smile lingering on his lips as she moved to leave. And no matter what happens, I'm right here. A burst of determination filled her as she walked out of the cafe, her heart thrumming with the anticipation of the unknown. This was her moment to face the truth and the feeling that had tied her in knots for too long. She felt lighter as she stepped outside, ready to embrace whatever lay ahead. As she entered the cafe where she would meet Mike, the sunlight streamed through the windows, illuminating the space with a warm, golden halo. She spotted him sitting there, casually scrolling through his phone. That familiar warmth surged within her, mixing joy with dread. Emily! He exclaimed, his face lighting up as she approached. It was undeniable, there was love between them, but what kind? Hey, Mike. I need to talk, she began, before the thoughts in her mind knew how to come out in words. Of course. Is everything okay? He asked, concern etched in his features. I know it seems like things are fine, she paused, gathering her thoughts. But I've been doing a lot of thinking and I feel like we need to be real with each other. His brows knitted together as he listened, and the weight of the moment pushed them both into deeper realization. What are you feeling? He prompted gently. Taking a deep breath, Emily plunged forward. I care about you, but it's become apparent that I need to sort through my feelings. Between you and Jake, between happiness and the complexities of love, I just don't know where I stand yet. His expression softened, and Emily felt the acceptance radiating from him like a warm embrace. Emily, I get it. Love isn't simple, and it's okay if you need space. I care about you too, and I want you to be happy, even if I'm not part of the equation. Just know that I'm here when you're ready. In that moment, a wave of relief washed over her. She had been honest, and though uncertain, she felt lighter somehow, as though a burden had lifted. The path ahead might not be clear, but she could see it stretching out before her, full of untold possibilities. The corners of her lips turned up, finding the strength to smile through the uncertainty. Thank you, Mike. You always know how to bring out the best in me. I appreciate you giving me this space. The warmth in his eyes reflected understanding, compassion, and a shared vulnerability that made her feel less alone in this journey. Just take the time you need. And remember, it's okay to feel conflicted. We'll figure this out together, in our own time. As they parted, Emily realized she was standing on the edge of a new beginning, a moment filled with hope and the promise of discovery. She wasn't just redefining her connections with Jake and Mike, she was discovering herself, unearthing the parts of her heart that had remained buried. With renewed determination swelling inside her, Emily walked out into the fading light of the evening, ready to embrace her life. With every step, she felt that simple joy creeping back in, reminding her that love might be messy, but it was always worth fighting for. And with each new day that dawned, she would learn to juggle the flames of her complicated heart, inviting them into a dance of hope and possibility. Moments turned to memories, and the laughter she shared could bring them all back together. The future hadn't been written yet, but she was ready to carve out her own path one step at a time. Now, you need to subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories that will unfold. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and boost our community. Don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Comment below your reactions and feelings about this ending. Your engagement matters, and only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.